Black Lives Matter news. This one, I feel like it was personally directed at you.
I doubt that.
Lamar Odom said, everyone who talks about a Kardashian curse are dumbasses. He went on to say that when you're in the limelight, every mistake you make is seen, and everyone goes through shit.
No.
He said there's no curse, and he even said his time with the Kardashians are the reason that he is still relevant today.
Okay. One, he's not relevant.
Isn't he doing that celebrity boxing match with Aaron Carter soon?
That shows you how relevant. Look, that's the same level as Screech was doing. Rest in peace. Screech was doing like just a couple of years ago. Because you're on a Screech relevant level. That's how relevant you are. So one, he's not relevant.
I read a post the other day that said I accidentally clicked on Aaron Carter's live video. Tell me why I was the only person in the world watching.
That's how relevant you are. Okay. Two, yeah, when you're in the limelight, your fuck ups, are exposed a little bit more. But here's the thing. When you're associated with the Kardashian, your life is ruined on such explosive levels that, remember, this is
it only black people, or should we be concerned for Travis Barker?
Well, yeah, I mean, think about Chris.
With the hard question.
Well, I don't know, because Chris Humphries is mixed, and his life didn't turn out good after the Kardashians, so he's not all the way black, so I think it can bleed into white people. I feel
like Scott Disick's doing okay.
Is he?
He's dating Lionel Richie's daughter? Sophia Richie? Like his youngest daughter?
That's weird. I don't think his life is doing great. I think he's gotten away with having no talent and making money out there. Here's the thing. Like I said, Lamar Odom, this man was 30 seconds away from death in a fucking hoe house in Las Vegas.
It's called a brothel.
On fucking Viagra that was made out of like deer penis. So, I mean,
deer penis and fentanyl.
So, he's not the best advice. I mean, from that, like I said, I mean, just the list goes. Ray J, obviously the biggest name, Kanye. We've seen how batshit crazy he's gone since fucking with the Kardashians.
Well, that's a mental illness, though.
Right.
I mean,
a mental illness that can be brought even further once you're fucking with the Kardashians.
BPD. It's not like he has PTSD.
Does he?
Well,
does he? But I mean, like I said, Reggie Bush, the list goes on. Now, and you have to look at the trajectory. So you have to look at their life before Kardashian, BK, before Kardashian, DK, during Kardashian, and then AK, after Kardashian. So, I mean, kind of like Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush before the Kardashians, Heisman Trophy winner. Fucking first round draft pick. Killed it with the Saints. During the Kardashians, almost got kicked out of the NFL because he was always getting hurt. Was a horrible player. Couldn't do shit in the NFL. After he left the Kardashians, Pro Bowler. The best kickoff return man in the game. Fucking was on a reality show during the pandemic and shit. Got a wife that looks like a Kardashian now. If you watch that show at the beginning of the pandemic when it was celebrities watching TV in their homes, they had them and the Osbournes. Romeo, Master P, and it had JoJo Siwa and her mama and shit. But it had Reggie Bush and his wife, and like I said, Reggie Bush's current wife now looks like she could be a Kardashian, but without the curse. So he does great. Ray J the same way. I mean, the list goes, all of these Negroes, the list goes on and on. From fucking Tristan Thompson to it just OJ. I mean, the list goes on and on. So yes, there is a curse. And once again, look at Lamar Odom, NBA All-Star, first-round draft pick, fucks with the Kardashians, almost dies, leaves the Kardashians, he hasn't made a come up, but he's still
Let's see
alive.
if he beats up Aaron Carter.
Right, he's still alive, which is a win. So if he was with the Kardashians, he wouldn't be alive right now.
Do you feel offended that he called people dumbasses if they believe in the curse?
Right, because I was the one found in a brothel on Deer Penis. I know. Who's the dumbass here? This guy doing a podcast in Wichita, Kansas, or this dude that was 15 seconds from death high on Deer Penis?
Was it really Deer Penis Viagra? Mm-hmm. So it's like, fuck if you buck, boy, fuck.
Pretty much. But yeah, he was on that all natural Viagra shit that was made out of like deer penis and rhinoceros urine or some shit like that. So yeah, who's the dumbass? It's that guy.
What do you think? After the Chauvin guilty verdict, the Las Vegas Raiders put "I can breathe" on their Twitter. A lot of people said it was tone deaf and should be removed. Mark Davis, the owner, said he takes full responsibility, but they are leaving it up because that's what George Floyd's brother said. Yeah. In fact, Phil O'Nice said the family is not offended and thanked the Raiders for their support. What do you think?
It could have probably, I don't know. That's kind of a mixed bag. Because one, you do appreciate the fact that they made a statement. You know, a lot of corporations and businesses and sports teams or whatever wouldn't have said shit. And also, they're 100% right. That's the exact statement that, like, after the verdict happened, George Floyd's brother said, "I feel like I can finally breathe now." So they were technically repeating just what he said. And I get the gist of it. On the other hand, I'm not even going to take the other side on that. The Raiders were right. I mean, because...
Oh, does that hurt your heart to say?
Not really. I mean, I've liked the, even as a Chiefs fan. I mean, the Raiders in the fucking 90s with Howie Long and fucking Greg Townsend and all those motherfuckers. The Raiders, Marcus Allen and shit. The Raiders were badasses in the 80s and 90s.
Can someone clip this for football season for me, please?
Never said they weren't. Now, I mean, mind you, if they're playing the Chiefs, then yeah, I hope they all die of a horrible death. But, I mean, if they're not playing the Chiefs, I don't give a fuck what the Raiders do. And it's kind of fucked up they moved from Oakland. So,
right? I don't like saying Las Vegas Raiders.
Because there's nothing, I mean, the Raiders left, the Golden State Warriors left, there ain't shit in Oakland now, other than Fruitvale Station. But, so yeah, I don't think the Raiders are in, like I said, I think people automatically saw that and then was like, oh, how dare, but on the other hand, when, like I said, companies don't step up, like in Georgia and other places, and when companies just stay silent and sports teams and everything else, then people on the left side want to complain about that and say, oh, well, how dare you're not standing up for this and that. And they actually took a stand on something that could offend, who knows, not half, because remember, Trump people are boycotting the NFL still. But some of their supporters stands that could offend them, and they took a stand on it. And they weren't doing it in a negative light. So yeah, I'm with the Raiders on that. I don't think they fucked up. It's kind of like the whole LeBron shit, when he did that tweet or whatever, and everybody, when he was during the Chauvin trial, and then obviously during the announcement of the verdict, that 16-year-old girl in Ohio got murdered by the police, and then he was like, he tweeted, the initial tweet was, "You're next," the caption above the story of those police officers, meaning you're next.
Hashtag accountability.
Yeah, you're next, that you're going to be found guilty. You're going to have to take some responsibility for this. And then, goddammit, white folks in Las Vegas, oh, he's threatening how is that a threat? You're threatening the poll. Poor LeBron. No matter what you think of him, like I said, at least one, he stands up for the community and he speaks his mind and catches hell for it every time he does. But, I mean, we really ain't. Michael Jordan didn't do that shit. Kobe Bryant didn't do that shit. They just shut up and dribbled. Kobe mixed with a little rape, and Michael Jordan mixed with a little gambling. But they didn't speak out on social issues at all. Really, we haven't seen somebody speak out on social issues like this since like a Muhammad Ali. So good for fucking LeBron for continuing to take on these assholes, and once again, look, after the Chauvin verdict, Brett Favre, for some reason, felt like he needed to state that he didn't think Chauvin intended to murder George Floyd. But now, to not really be fair, but to be fair to Brett Favre, he did say what Derek Chauvin did was wrong. But he said, this is straight out of his mouth. There's no paraphrasing anything. Said that what he didn't think that Chauvin intended to kill George Floyd. Think when you put your knee on somebody's neck for over 9 minutes, I think you intend to murder somebody. I think you intend to kill somebody. But anyway, nobody gets mad at Brett. I mean, certain people don't get mad on one side. Don't get mad when Brett Favre says some dumb shit like that. And this isn't the first time. Or when Drew Brees says some dumb, ignorant shit. Or any of these other motherfuckers.
Or Jackson Riker.
Who?
He's a wrestler.
All right. Yeah, that guy.
That didn't get released after saying Black Lives Matter is a joke.
Right. But if LeBron says something, or if the NBA, has messages on their jerseys that say equality, or, if somebody takes a knee, they just need to focus on playing sports and not worry about anything else. But yet other people in society can speak what they want.
Just to be on the other side, because I have a feeling some of our listeners are going to.
I doubt that, because they probably don't listen to the show.
What do you think about, okay, so the 16-year-old girl was murdered. She was going after another girl with a knife.
Right.
What do you think the best offense would be in that situation?
Okay. Here's the thing. And we've talked about this before, because I don't think, unlike some black people and civil rights activists, I don't think that it's a black and white issue. There's different shades of gray. So like when the Michael Brown thing happened, Michael Brown is different than George Floyd or Eric, what's his name from New York that was choked to death for selling loose cigarettes, or the black dude I think that was in Minneapolis as well, that informed the police officers that he had a gun in his glove box and was letting them know, and then they shot his ass. Or what's her name from Louisville, Breonna Taylor. There's some incidents like the what's the kid that got murdered in Minneapolis or whatever, that was running from the he was trying to escape and evade from the police, and he had a rap sheet from it. Now, do I think that he should have been murdered for his crime? Of course not. Do I think that the police officer pulled the taser accidentally? Of course not. I mean, you can't be on the force for over 20 years and mistake a taser for a fucking gun. She murdered that motherfucker. But at the same time, there's extenuating circumstances that it's just not cut and dry. Like, they shot a black person. Now, with this 16-year-old girl, kind of the same, but kind of different. So, meaning 16 years old, she's the one that called the police. It was in her front lawn to where all this shit was going down. Now, at the same time,
because they were threatening her, correct?
Right. These two grown-ass black women came to whoop this 16-year-old's ass. Now, at the same time, once you call the police and the police actually arrive, and maybe you don't try to
72 hours later.
It wasn't 72 hours.
No, it's just...
but it was like a few minutes later. But going after somebody with a knife probably isn't the best time when there's a police officer that's just arriving on the scene. At the same time, it's a 16-year-old girl with a butter knife. This wasn't a fucking hatchet. This wasn't Michael Myers type shit. She had a fucking butter knife. What? I mean, yeah, I'm sure you can kill somebody with a butter knife if you try hard enough. But I'm sure there was a way to defuse this. And I'm trying to think, and I've been getting, if you look at my Twitter, you can see all the dumbass arguments and shit that I've been getting into over this shit. But even going into that scene, like if the police officer just arrived and sees this girl with this silver shiny thing in her hand or whatever, trying to go at somebody else, it's still not enough evidence to justify shooting somebody 4 times in the chest because you think they have it wasn't a gun. So it wasn't. Like I said, there were extenuating circumstances as far as that goes, but at the same time, it still wasn't justified on murdering somebody because they had a butter knife. Like, it's just fucking ridiculous. And until you hold these motherfuckers. Look, I watched this episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Did you watch that episode about the police brutality when Terry Crews was got racially profiled in his neighborhood and shit? That police officer that tried to that arrested his ass and shit.
My gosh, I think I did.
It was like the only serious episode ever, so far anyway, of Brooklyn Nine-Nine that I've ever seen. I mean, there were still funny parts to it, but it had it was like a very special episode of like Punky Brewster and shit. But anyway, in this episode, like I think it aired in like 2017, so it was a few years ago before last year, before the shit really started going down. But it was right on point. It was like, until these. And I appreciate the episode because it comes kind of from not only a black police officer's point of view, but also a good police officer's point of view, where it was like, well, if you file, like Terry Crews wanted to file a complaint against his white police officer, but then the captain didn't want him to because it could ruin his career and shit. And so what do you do? And this and that. And then at the end, he didn't get after he filed the complaint, he didn't get the promotion, and it was just a catch-22 and shit. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of the problem that we have. The majority of police officers are good, but until they actually use their voice against the police unions and all these bad police officers, you still gonna have this racism against police, and it's just gonna be the same shit that we've experienced for the last 100 years and shit. So it's I don't know what you do, but anyway.
Arrested. Defensive back for the Steelers, Justin Lane, was arrested Friday after being pulled over for going 30 over the speed limit. Police searched his car and found weed and a gun. He was only booked for the gun, but he did repeatedly tell cops he was a football player.
Well,
I hate that. I hate that so much.
Look, he didn't kill him. He didn't almost.
If I get put in cuffs, I'm not gonna be like, I'm on a podcast.
But some people look. The fucking Speaker of the House in Kansas, who's Republican.
But then again, I'm white, so
he's white too. The Speaker of the House, a Republican from Kansas, got stopped for a DUI. He was doing 110 in like a 65 mile per hour lane, and then after he got arrested, he did the "Do you know who I am?" shit, and he also did he called them pigs and told them that he could fucking ruin their careers and everything else and shit. By the way, still has a job to this day. Hasn't resigned or hasn't gotten forced out. So that's how you know how Kansas politics are going. But anyway, so in all walks, if you got a little bit of power, like I said, at least he didn't say, "Do you know who I am?" He just kind of mentioned, "Hey, I play for the Steelers. Are you a fan?" Yeah, no, it's okay.
Gone but not forgotten. Shock G, a.k.a. Humpty Hump, passed away last Thursday in a hotel room. No cause of death as of yet. Shock G helped get Tupac to be a household name. He was 57.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're going to do an autopsy to see what actually happened, because they just said his dad said that he died in this hotel room in Florida or whatever, but there's no cause of death as of yet, so hopefully it's not.
You've met Damien 97,000 times. Can you imagine if you put this song on to this day, he will sing every word?
No, because it's a white person staple. So
is it?
Yeah. The Humpty, look here, people. There's a few white people staples that anytime.
I had never heard of this song before I got with him.
Anytime you go to karaoke at a bar and they're doing karaoke, you'll hear a white person do either Humpty Hump. You'll hear a white person do
Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah, Ice Ice Baby, but that's a white dude, so it doesn't
Oh,
count. What's the one? Bust a Move. That's a white people staple. Baby Got Back. That's a white person staple. Those three songs, you will hear a white person, not a black person, but a white person do one of those three songs.
Mix-a-Lot was on an
every
episode
time.
of Bar Rescue.
Call comes full circle. But anyway, so that's not surprising that that's a white.
That threw me off.
That's a white person staple. Now, if it was deeper into the cat, like Do What You Like, or even was all the same song, or something like that, then that'd be surprising. But Humpty Hump, every white person knows Humpty Hump.
I don't know Humpty Hump.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was a shock. I wasn't expecting that. That was terrible.
WWE beef. Senior Director of Talent Relations in WWE, Mark Carano, was fired last week after released wrestler Mickie James said for the second time that all of her